Yes, we are back with you live once again. Another Johnny Torch live broadcast. Broadcast number 236. Torch News Roundup 196. Welcome into the show, everybody. Nice to be able to get these videos out a little more regularly. We've got a lot to talk about in the world of pop culture. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. If you don't know the deal, this is the Johnny Torch live show. We try to do the show on Saturdays. Lately, I've been finding more time to do it on Wednesdays, but that could all change. I try to do at least one live show a week. Lately, I've been trying to get some more reviews out, as we've been talking about the past few weeks. I'm trying to do more recorded videos. I'm trying to do more shorter videos. I've lately been... I don't know why I torture myself this way. I've lately been taking an interest in doing Batwoman episode videos, probably because there's just so much wrong with that show that it's fun to just, I don't know, poke fun at it maybe. It's not even in the so bad it's good category. It's just in the what were they thinking category. So I did record another video today about Batwoman Season 2, Episode 6, I believe it is. Do not resuscitate. And brother, if that's not the if that's not the tagline for this show, I don't know what is. A lot of exciting things going on. I did the review of the Superman and Lois pilot. I didn't hate it. Go back and watch it, see what I think. Some people, it seems to be hitting people in two different directions. Some people think it's all that. Other people are thinking it's not that great. I'm probably a little more in the latter camp, even though I enjoyed it for what it was. It's refreshing to see Superman the way, kind of hearkening back to that old-fashioned, Boy Scout Superman. The problem is what they did with him on Supergirl really tainted, I think, people's perception of Tyler Hoechlin's Superman. I don't think it's really that bad, but what they did to him already kind of left a stigma on the CW Superman, I think. But see, that's the thing. Now that he's the leading character on the show, they probably will afford him a little more dignity. And that's kind of what I think is going to happen. So the second episode of that came out this week. I didn't watch it yet. I think it just came out yesterday. That's why I didn't get a chance to watch this stuff yet. I saw Batwoman. That's pretty sad when the first thing I turned to is Batwoman. But also the season premiere of The Flash. The Flash, I think The Flash, unarguably the best CW show consistently. The biggest problem The Flash has is that they are trying to turn Iris into what they turned Felicity into over an Arrow. And a lot of people are resenting that character now, and I can understand why, having watched the show. But I digress. A lot of stuff happening here. If you are unaware, yours truly appeared on Peter Simeti's Open Mic Monday this past week. Oh, that was exciting, an excitement to behold for myself. I've been saying I wanted to get on the show for a long time to promote Bullets Bourbon. We're going to promote Bullets Bourbon. Oh boy, are we going to in just a moment. But I want to also take this opportunity to thank Peter, if he ever watches this show, to thank him for what he does for the indie comics community. I thanked him on his show Open Mic Monday, and I asked him if he's interested in coming on the show. He's always welcome. And basically what happened was, I think it was obvious from my presentation that I was not prepared in the slightest. I came home. I usually come home around 11 o'clock on a Monday when he does the show. So his show is either in the immediate stages of wrapping up or has wrapped up, has long since wrapped up, and I'll rewind it and watch, or whatever you want to call it. But in this case, he was in no way nearly even close to done with the show. He had like 2 or 3 other people on besides myself at the point when I came on. And I was not prepared. I just turned on my, I put my website up because I had no pages ready or anything. And I started talking about the book, and I had nothing but the cover to show. So I tried to share the screen and get some pages up from the free preview section. Couldn't do it, and I don't want to say got flustered, but I kind of had to ad-lib from there on. which was actually pretty funny, I thought. I went back and listened to some of it, and it was pretty funny, the ad-libs, in my opinion. But again, I really didn't get to talk too much about the book, so I hope to get on if I stay home one day on a Monday, or if I'm able to get on if he keeps a long show again, and maybe be a little more prepared next time. But again, check it out. I thought it was pretty funny. It was near the end. It was an over 2 hour long show, and quite honestly, it's a great show because you get to have a lot of diverse, authors, writers, artists, comics. Basically, if you haven't seen his show, it's a great show, so you should check it out. I try to watch it every week. I might miss a week here and there, but I always try to watch it. And I'm familiar with a lot of these guys doing the show. Edwin, who does the Ace, follows me on Twitter, and I follow him as well, and on YouTube. So a lot of great guys there that are not unfamiliar to me, and I cheer them on as well. As well as a lot of up and coming guys that I'm not even aware of. I mean, like I said, I know a lot of the guys on the shows, but sometimes I'm confronted with some new stuff that even I wasn't aware of. That was really exciting to see. All right. So anyway, thank you, Peter Simeti, for the opportunity you gave to not only me, but to a host of other comic creators. I tried to inject a little levity into the proceedings, and Peter's a good sport. I'm sure he took it all in stride. And again, the invitation is still open. If he would like to be on, I would love to have him on, and Rob Geronimo, and Ryan Wynn, which I also invited on. But again, anybody really that's out there that wants to be on the show, I can't promise that you'll have a lot of stellar broadcast journalism on my part, but if you want the stage is yours, and I'll be happy to show your stuff and have an interview, however brief or lengthy as I can make it. So there you have it. All right, and so also, of course, as we're talking about comics, check out The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. I try to do an art stream every once in a while where I can just talk in depth about the book, but basically, as I said on the Open Mic Monday, elevator pitch is it's a down-on-his-luck private eye who takes on the most colorful collection of villains imaginable in each and every action-packed issue. We have 3 trades, which collects issues. 1 is the self-contained remaster of the first issue. The second trade is our issues 2 and 3, Knock on Wood, which is the introduction to Pencil Neck, one of my greatest villains, one of my favorite villains. And the third trade is issues 4, 5, and 6, When the Night Comes, which is the team up between Carrot Top and Pencil Neck, my 2 favorite villains. Then we have issue 7, which is out, which is the beginning of our next 3-issue arc. We have The Family Jewels, which is Carrot Top going back to his father, who is the leader of the vegetable garden gang, and the idea is that they're trying to find a statuette, a priceless statuette that will ensure his family's legacy as the dominant crime family in Stark City. Now, see, as I say that, as it is, you need a couple of minutes to just focus on these things. That's kind of what happens. Now, when you're doing it and you're on the clock, you have 5 minutes, it gets a little bit tongue trippy to try to go through all that. And I got most of that out before I tried to get the extra pages up that I hoped would have sort of facilitated what I was trying to talk about. But in absence of that, that's what happens. You take for granted 5 minutes is a long time. I got basically a minute and a half into it, maybe 2 minutes into it, thinking I was almost done. And that's when I really couldn't keep the screen share going, and I kind of just threw in the towel on the screen share. So unfortunately, that's what happened. But 5 minutes is a long time. So like I said, I'm going to try to be better prepared next time, and hopefully I can do the same for others. If you want 5 minutes, or maybe a little longer, we can see if we can make that happen. So check out the Family Jewels, the most recent issue in the crown jewels of the Bullets Bourbon Comics saga. And of course, as I said on the show with Peter, that the book is only $5. $20, 20 pages for a $5 book is pretty darn good in this indie comics climate. This indie comics scene, people are asking for $25, they're asking for $30, they're asking for in excess of $40, and you might get an 80-page book or something like that out of it, and you might get all the bells and whistles. But I'm trying to reach the reader that doesn't want to break the bank. I understand you're a collector. I understand that, and trust me, when I send you the comic, you're going to get a couple of freebies, you're going to get a couple of goodies, but I've got to make it cost effective for the customer. And the same thing with Peter. He has a great program, if you haven't heard of it, the Printing Partnership Program, where he's selling books basically for $1.50, $2, and trying to keep it, affordable for the run-of-the-mill comic fan as much as the collector who wants the big expensive version with the bells and whistles. I try to do the same. I do the trades, and the trades are where you can get the remastered version, where I really make sure that all the all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. But when I do a regular issue, I try to make sure that they're priced pretty reasonably. I try not to make the page count go over 20, in the early 20s, so that the printing costs won't go up so much. And that's why I serialize them for 3 issues, which again, that's another reason why you serialize them, is you want to keep it in the forefront of people's minds. Now, the most recent issue came out in the fall, and I'm shooting for a late spring release date on issue 8, which of course is going to be called Temptation Eyes. We'll talk about that more on some other broadcasts, preferably when I don't have too much else to talk about. But today we've got a lot of stuff to talk about in the Torch News Roundup. But I did want to touch base on some of these things where we're trying to get the book out. We're trying to get it in the public consciousness, in the comic scene. I try to follow everyone back on Twitter that I possibly can, especially in the comic scene. I always follow back whoever follows me, especially in the comic scene. I'm more than happy to sub back to any comic channels. They don't reach out to me as often as the Twitter folk do, but let me know if you have a comic channel where you advertise your comics. I'll be happy to sub back, and hopefully we can entertain thoughts of promoting each other on our respective shows. And so, let's see, with that out of the way, also one more thing, like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff that you know. But I'm trying to get to 300 subs. That's going to be the main goal for this year. The channel is growing by leaps and bounds. I've gotten probably like 60 subs this year alone, and we're barely into our 3rd month. Before it was, can we make it to 100? I want to make it to 150. This time we're blowing the doors off the expectations. Let's see if we can get this channel to 300 subs by the end of this calendar year. That's what I'm shooting for, and hopefully we can do it. And again, like I said, I will follow back for any follow. I'll sub back for any sub. So unless you're, a complete crazy person, and then I will rescind that offer. But more than likely, I'll be happy to sub back to you. So let's get a move on here and start talking about the events that transpired within the past couple of weeks. I think this is maybe 2 weeks worth of stuff we're talking about. Alrighty. First off, wait a second. Of course, this would not be a Johnny Torch broadcast if I was not ill-prepared in one in one form or another. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that up. Oh, and that's another thing. See, it's a good thing I stopped for a second to remind folks that check the link in the description below for our Bullets Bourbon Comics website. I know I really should get a domain name for that. Peter was talking to me about that as well. I really should. But the easiest way to get there is to just Google Bullets Bourbon Comics or Johnny Torch, which I'm sure you know the spelling. Spelling makes a difference. And also make sure that you check me out on Twitter. I'm also on Gab and Minds, which I don't pay nearly enough attention to. That's another problem I have is I don't want to have too many social media links. I honestly don't pay attention to the other ones when I get new ones. That's why I'm not on Instagram. That's why I haven't gotten around to joining Peter Simeti's message board. I really am not that, a social media animal where I'm going to go on all these things and just continually promote on all cylinders. So again, apologies if I'm not on too many of them or if I'm on one you don't like or whatever. I know a lot of people jumped ship from Twitter, and I hopefully will do so at some point. Now, if you check out on Twitter, we have the poll of the week question, and this has to do with Superman and Lois. You have 3 days left on this, so if you're watching this broadcast after Wednesday, you better hurry up and vote. Now, all right, place your bets. This is the question on everyone's mind. I mean, it is a Bertolanti show, after all. On Superman and Lois, who is going to come out as gay, bi, or date a trans person by next season? Jonathan or Jordan Kent? One of the two Kent sons is going to be gay or bi or date a trans person. What do you think is going to be the most likely outcome? Is it Jonathan or Jordan? As it stands right now, well, let me do pro and con, what you think in this case. Let's see. Jonathan, we don't have a lot of evidence for his proclivities, shall we say. He was seen talking to a girl at the beginning of the show. They could very easily retcon that as to him being bi or do the Alex Danvers thing, and he just didn't. He didn't fully embrace himself and come out. But then again, Jordan seems to be, I don't know. I mean, he's interested in Sarah, which is, I guess, Lana's daughter. But at the same time, he's kind of unsure of himself, and he doesn't really know which way the wind blows in his life, so to speak. And it's very easy for them I can easily see them switch the narrative that he discovered himself, and he is embracing his inner self, and he's going to be bi or whatever. So, to be honest with you, it could easily go either way. Looking at the votes, let's see what you guys thought. 16 votes so far with 3 days left. Jordan comes in second with 37.5% of the vote, and Jonathan is commanding a fairly decent lead with 62.5%. So once again, check out my Twitter page if you want to vote in that poll. And yeah, all right, now with all things taken care of, we will move on to the events of this week. All right, first off, let's talk about this. This was some pretty exciting news. Said no one ever. Warner Brothers is developing a new Superman movie with J.J. Abrams on board as producer. J.J. Abrams, a.k.a. the Typhoid Mary of beloved franchises. Seriously, is anybody excited about the news of J.J. Abrams being attached to any of these projects or any of these franchises that you beloved? I don't think so. I don't think too many people are excited about this after hearing what he did to Star Trek and Star Wars. Star Wars, in a way, I'm not going to take up for the man because, honestly, The Force Awakens was trash. I don't care what anybody says. The only reason why people accepted The Force Awakens is because Lawrence Kasdan wrote the script, and he wrote Harrison Ford's Han Solo pretty much in keeping with the tone, the tenor of the original films, the original trilogy. But breaking away from that, Abrams did not insist on having all three of the original cast members together for the one movie where they would have that opportunity. Of course, unforeseen happenings with Carrie Fisher passing away, but we knew Harrison Ford didn't want to stick around. And Mark Hamill is saved as a cameo at the end. So really, as a OT sequel, it's trash. Then if you want to say, well, what about the newer characters? Again, Rey is a Mary Sue. They really had no firm idea what to do with Poe. Finn, not the strongest character. I mean, he's arguably the strongest out of that lot in the first film in the sequel trilogy, but still. Then flash forward, and what happened with The Last Jedi was appalling, and it's hard to, fault him on the way he tried to pick up the pieces with The Rise of Skywalker. He was left with no main villain. He was left with no Luke Skywalker. It was kind of difficult for anyone to pick up the pieces of that film. But if possible, he managed to completely screw that up as well as anybody could. Star Trek, I actually kind of enjoyed the Star Trek films in the Abrams verse, but still they're not that good, let's be honest with ourselves. We've got a Spock and Uhura romance, which was horrible, which had no business being done, ill-conceived, to say the least. I think he pushed Kirk into a more cartoony character. I mean, they really leaned on that womanizing, stereotype of Kirk into the stratosphere. That was ridiculous, the way they were sort of pushing him in. They made him sort of a punk. He was described as a stack of books with legs in the old series, the original series. And they kind of made him sort of like this, I don't know, kind of troublemaker, biker bar type guy. I don't know. It didn't really seem to ring true. Then, of course, you've got Abrams always having to change things just for shock and awe. Like Vulcan had to blow up. We had to. If they would have focused on just a clear not even a reboot, just a clear prequel would have been fine. But we had that kind of melding of sort of, it's a new timeline, and we brought back Leonard Nimoy, who, of course, is actually the best part of that movie. But anyway, I digress. I shudder to think what J.J. Abrams is going to do to Superman now. But if that was not bad enough, Black Panther comic book writer Ta-Nehisi Coates is penning the script. Ta-Nehisi Coates is, of course, known by all as being significantly left of center. And when you have a superhero like Superman who is truth, justice, and the American way, and you're hoping that he is going to honor those roots to the character, nah, don't do it. Don't do it at all. Don't think that way, or you'll be very disappointed. The project is described as a reboot, even though star Henry Cavill is said to be eager to get back into the Cape. Now, we've heard all along that Henry Cavill is going to be sort of the Nick Fury of the upcoming DCU slate. The DCU slate has him probably guest starring in Shazam 2, possibly guest starring in The Flash. There's been speculation for years now at this point. What is going on with Henry Cavill? He keeps playing coy, acting like he is a part of this franchise still, but we've seen no evidence of it, even so far as when they manufactured a cameo for him in Shazam, only for it to be a headless double. So, quite frankly, we still don't know where they're coming from with Cavill going forward in the Superman universe, in the DCEU universe. But, see, this is where I think it's going to be, and I think a lot of people are made this conclusion. It's going to be the Earth 23. I think it's Earth 23, isn't it? I think it's going to be the Earth 23 Superman, because a lot of things have the Earth 23 Superman written all over this. First, they're they've got Ta-Nehisi Coates, which wrote Black Panther, which is basically they're trying to give him a Black Panther to write because Ryan Coogler is, of course, going to helm the Black Panther films, the sequels, sadly without Chadwick Boseman, but he is going to write those. They are not bringing Ta-Nehisi Coates in to write the Black Panther sequels, so they're giving him an opportunity here to do a black superhero with black roots and so on and so forth. And also you have, of course, everybody on that certain demographic that wants diversity, and we don't need a white Superman, and the best actor should get the role, which of course is always a code for we want to, black wash a character, or brown wash a character, or whatever. So they've been hinting all along they want Michael B. Jordan to play Superman. And quite honestly, the public at large doesn't want that. It's the SJWs, it's the NPCs that are just going along with this narrative that it's time for a black Superman. I am not totally against this if it, in fact, is not Clark Kent. If it is Earth 23 Superman, whose name is Calvin something or other, I'm not sure, then that's okay. Basically, you've got the same problem as you have with a Miles Morales Spider-Man. By doing both sides of the equation here, you're basically pitting two sides of the fandom against each other. Miles Morales is basically a tokenized Spider-Man. He's basically Peter Parker in blackface, really. I mean, I'm not that well versed in his comics, in his lore, but basically he's kind of the same. He has the tragic past. He's got sort of nerdy, underpinnings. And then he also has Gwen Stacy as a girlfriend, which, again, this is something else that I find distasteful in Spider-Man lore, which is they didn't allow Gwen Stacy to stay dead in his universe. She becomes his girlfriend, which is sort of giving him Peter Parker's girlfriend, which is kind of incestuous, if you ask me. And also, they have to placate the feminists who act like Gwen was killed because of the women in refrigerators thing, and this makes her a superhero in her own right, and she, really shouldn't be because that wasn't Gwen's character. But anyway, I digress. So, but that's the problem. The problem is you're trying to put a black Superman against a white Superman. And that's why now you have a lot of people siding with Miles Morales. He's the better Spider-Man. We have arguments over classic Peter Parker is the best Spider-Man. And as I feel that Into the Spider-Verse did, they use Peter Parker basically for name recognition. It's for the people like me who are like, Miles Morales Spider-Man, no thank you. Hard pass. And, well, Peter Parker's in it, and we'll use him now as sort of a, bridge to the both sides of the fandom. You get Peter Parker, but Peter Parker's kind of old, and he's kind of a schlub, and he kind of, basically shades of Han Solo. He's kind of on the comeback trail because they couldn't think of anything more proactive for him to do than to be a mentor because he kind of screwed up his own life, and again, there we are. But anyway, as I was saying, that's kind of where we are now, and it's different than that's what I call sort of a tokenized character. I don't think race changing a character is tokenizing them. I think that's placating, again, the SJWs, the liberal crybabies, the politically correct. Tokenism is when you take a character and you say, well, his only main function is to be the blank character in the story. In this case, we'll say the black character. We'll make him the black Superman. And so he's not there because we really created a character we love, and he just happens to have these powers, and he just happens to dress like this in this kind of superhero costume, and he just happens to be called this. What we are doing is we're basically saying, we're taking Superman, we're taking Spider-Man, but we don't think those characters are cool enough because we can't say that other races will see themselves in those characters. They won't appeal to those characters unless they're race X. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Superman and say, this is the black Superman. This is not Clark Kent, but this is the black Superman. This is not Peter Parker, but this is the black Spider-Man. Yes, I know he's black Latino. But that is what is tokenism, because you're not creating a character and saying, look, we made a great character. We made a character that's so captivating. He's going to get everybody on his side. It doesn't matter what race you are, what gender you are, whatever you are. They're going to love it. No, they're saying, we want to take Superman. That's a powerful character. That's an iconic character. But he's not, he's vanilla. He's not politically correct. You know, we need to appeal to the masses. We need to appeal to the SJWs. We need to appeal to the kids that we are forcing them to believe that they can't look up to Superman unless he's black. So now he's black. That's kind of the problem with this. So I'll firmly say it's tokenism. But again, I cannot complain about this in the same manner that they do to other characters, which we're going to talk about in a moment with Supergirl, which of course is another news item for the day. So, but again, as I said before, I never understood really, when I was a kid, I never understood the concept of like the black cast version of The Odd Couple, the black cast version of The Wizard of Oz, which was The Wiz. You know what I mean? I used to ask my mother and she'd be like, well, they're just trying to do something different with it. You know, it's the same story, but they're doing something different with it. As a kid, I was trying to understand that. Well, doesn't black kids like The Wizard of Oz? I mean, I thought everybody liked The Wizard of Oz. And, that's where my mother would say, well, everybody likes The Wizard of Oz, but they're just trying to do something different with it. They're putting a different spin on it. And that's kind of the way I feel about this. You want to do a black Superman, fine. You put a different spin on it. On this Earth, Superman was black. He was raised black. He has, I guess, African-American roots. I don't know exactly how the story went in the comics. That's fine. But again, in some ways, I think this is preferable, because if this takes away the stigma of we need to race change characters, we need to take, as we're going to see in a moment, Supergirl and cast her as a Latina because we don't have enough Latina representation. We'll make, whatever. Just any number of characters in Black Adam, I think, have been race changed. Any number of characters, I think, in the Suicide Squad have been race and gender changed. If you can leave the races alone, if you can leave the genders alone, if you can leave the orientations alone and say, this character, whom we created 50 plus years ago, is still that, continues to be that, and will always be that, then I say make all the black versions of Superman, make an Asian version of Spider-Man, make a Latina version of Supergirl, make a whatever. If you can, in fact, continue to make the classic representations of these characters. And I'm not saying that, obviously we'll continue to have Black Panther stay black as he should. We should continue to have Shang-Chi remain Asian as he should. But the characters who are white, the characters who are traditionally white, should remain white and not be changed. And if this is a way of doing that, I'd be happy. But unfortunately, that's not the case, because, like I said, we just got information of a race-changed character yet again this past week. All right, so let me read, after that lengthy editorial, let me read the copy here. There is a new, powerful, and moving Superman story yet to be told. We couldn't be more thrilled to be working with the brilliant Mr. Coates to help bring that story to the big screen, and we're beyond thankful to the team at Warner Brothers for the opportunity, said J.J. Abrams in a statement. In addition to his Marvel Comics work, Coates is the acclaimed author of best-selling books such as We Were 8 Years in Power, An American Tragedy, The Beautiful Struggle, and Between the World and Me. So as you can tell by those titles, you know what you're in for with Ta-Nehisi Coates. Let's see. Coates said, to be invited into the DC Extended Universe by Warner Brothers, DC Films, and Bad Robot is an honor. I look forward to meaningfully adding to the legacy of America's most iconic mythic hero. Hannah Minghella will produce. Yeah, I bet you would. You know, basically, I've never read Ta-Nehisi Coates. All I know from him is from your boy Zach, and I have no reason to disbelieve anything your boy Zach has said about his comics because having read, I mean, having heard his reviews and seeing, you know, what Coates has done, I think in the case of Captain America, it's quite obvious that he's not coming towards this with anything but a political and an SJW slant. So very sad. All right, now to further back up my claim that this is going to be the Michael B. Jordan version of Superman, this is their excuse to get Michael B. Jordan as Superman. And to his credit, I have to admit this. To his credit, I said this when he made this statement publicly. Michael B. Jordan said publicly he did not want to play Superman. And then he clarified that by saying he did not want to play the Clark Kent Kal-El Superman. He said he thinks that that would be just inviting controversy and that would be difficult for an actor. And I have nothing but respect for Michael B. Jordan for making that decision and making that claim. He said he would probably take the role of Earth 23 Superman, and that is why I think that is what this is. Because he clearly came out and said that he would take that role if that was offered to him, but he would not take the traditionally white Clark Kent Superman. Now, again, to back that up, despite the suggestion that Henry Cavill might return to the role in the future, which I think will happen, that's another thing. I think they will firmly bring Henry Cavill back as Superman for the DCEU. I don't understand why they don't want to confirm a Man of Steel 2. I think there are probably a couple of reasons for that, and we'll get into that as well, I suppose. This is turning out to be a very long broadcast. I thought I only had like a half hour's worth of stuff, but I get long-winded. That's the way I am. I can't keep things short. I can't keep it brief. That's what gets me in trouble. Trying to be on 5 minutes of fame. Okay, so basically what happens here is they're probably going to make this an Elseworlds film. This is going to be like Joker was, the Todd Phillips Joker. This is probably going to be like the Robert Pattinson Batman. It's going to be a Elseworlds story. It is not going to be spun off. But you see, at the same time, this is why they don't want to have Henry Cavill doing a solo Superman movie right now. Because it's going to come in conflict with Michael B. Jordan's, J.J. Abrams, Ta-Nehisi Coates version of Superman. And they can't have them go head-to-head. So what they're saying to Cavill probably behind the scenes is, be patient, take it easy, we'll keep your face in front of the public on different people's films. But you're not getting a solo film until after Michael B. Jordan gets one. And after he gets one, we'll do you if his film either fails or isn't, isn't something that wants to be pursued by Jordan and Coates and whoever. That's probably what's going to happen. Also, you have to remember, they want to see the blowback that they're going to get from Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I don't think there's a future for Zack Snyder doing films, but if it's popular enough, say Zack Snyder's Justice League is popular enough, they might just go back to Snyder and say, okay, make Justice League 2. I don't think it will happen, but they're holding out probably the possibility that becomes a runaway hit, well-liked and well-received, and then they'll want to bring back maybe Cavill and Snyder for a Man of Steel 2 or a Justice League 2. That's probably a safe bet for what they're going to do next. Several trade reports have now confirmed that this reboot will indeed feature someone else in the cape than Cavill. The studio is said to be searching for a black actor to play the new Man of Steel. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the project is being set up as the Black Superman story, quote-unquote, Black Superman story, which is an idea the WB has been kicking around for quite a while. Black Panther star Michael B. Jordan reportedly wanted to develop his own take on Supes back in 2019 when he first joined the studio. And while nothing ever came of that, it is possible that the studio could return to him to star down the line. So there you have it. Apparently, and like I said, say what you will. I don't know if this is, in the grand scheme of things, very good or very bad, but this looks like where it's going. All right, let's get to our next story here. Let me know what you think in the comments below as well about this, because you know how I feel about race-changing characters. Is this as bad? Or is this, you know, sort of an alternative that is acceptable to you? Let me know. All right, we go from Superman to Supergirl. We've got, let's see. Yeah, of course, I don't have the complete notes here. Wait a second. Let me look at this for a second here. What's this chick's name? I don't have my notes properly done here. Okay, Sasha Calais. Is that how you pronounce her name, Calais? Sasha Calais is cast as the new Supergirl actress. And it's something that I feel like we've done before. Haven't we cast a Latina actress as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed superheroine beauty and tried to make her look like that? I think that's not what's going to happen here. Of course, I'm talking about Jessica Alba in Fantastic Four. She looks very much like Jessica Alba from this photo, to me anyway. I mean, they're both, you know, attractive women, but all wrong for the role, because as you can see by the picture on your screen right there, this looks like night and day. They look nothing alike. There is nothing in common here with them. And yet, some casting director had to take this photo and show Andy Muschietti, and Andy Muschietti had to say, "That's my Supergirl." I don't understand that kind of thinking. I don't understand it. And again, there are plenty of ways that you could cast a Latina actress, because there are great Latina there are great Latina characters out there that could be used. You've got, you know, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I know a whole bunch of them off the top of my head, but of course, Jessica Cruz, the Green Lantern. Make that Green Lantern movie. Finally make that Green Lantern movie. Get her some exposure. Maybe get her a spinoff. Bronze Tiger is another one that comes to mind. There was a male Bronze Tiger, of course, at first, and then it became a legacy character. But again, make a new character. There is thousands of ways to get a Latina superheroine on the screen. Supergirl is not one of them. It should not be an acceptable one of them, because Supergirl is not Latina for many reasons. She has been, from creation, from her inception in comics, blonde-haired and blue-eyed. That is not something this actress or many Latinas convey in appearance. Also, if she is the cousin of Henry Cavill's Kal-El, she is not the same race as Henry Cavill, who I believe is English. He may be Welsh or something. I'm not exactly sure. But she is not sharing the exact same physical characteristics of a Henry Cavill. Again, this is just rudimentary, by the books, on casting. What would you do? It doesn't make a lick of sense. And the only thing I can think of is they're going to do another thing like they did before with the Michael B. Jordan, Ta-Nehisi Coates, J.J. Abrams Superman, which is, this is going to be another Supergirl from another realm, from another reality, because, of course, we are talking about the Flash movie. And the Flash movie is supposedly going to bring all kinds of elements from the past together. We're going to see the Michael Keaton Batman that's already been confirmed, I'm pretty sure. We may also see some of the other characters from various DC projects, and hopefully that'll come to pass. because I'd love to see that. But I think that is the only way this makes any sense, where we will have a different race Supergirl if she comes from a different dimension where there are different race Supermen. This is kind of bizarre that before we get a replacement for, the Melissa Benoist Supergirl, we already have a replacement for her that is not at all looking like, Melissa Benoist. That's kind of the sad thing, because Melissa Benoist was pitch perfect for Supergirl. I don't care what anybody says about the show, because you could say anything you want about that show and you would be right, but she was perfect casting. She looked exactly like Kara Zor-El. She looked exactly like you see her in the comics, and she's a great actress. She's a very great actress. So I don't understand really when you have that precedent. And of course, all the live action actresses of Supergirl before Sasha Calle were blonde, blue-eyed, and white. So again, I don't really know. I'm really going to feel sorry for seeing Melissa Benoist leave Supergirl. But when that eventuality happens, of course, maybe we'll see her back on Superman and Lois from time to time. I don't know. But let me know what you think in the comments below here about this casting choice. Once again, taking a white character and changing the race of the character. Let's see. Let me look at the copy. Andy Muschietti revealed that more than 400 actresses auditioned for the Supergirl role. Though most were unaware what role they were actually trying out for. Now, this is interesting. Do you try out 400 actresses if you are only going to show her as a cameo in one movie? Yeah, this kind of sounds like it's going to be, this is their Supergirl going forward. Ugh. Muschietti says Calle participated in a chemistry test with star Ezra Miller, suggesting the dynamic between Flash and Supergirl will be critical to the plot of the movie. With Kiersey Clemons also set to appear as Iris West, is there a love triangle brewing in Central City? I sure hope not. Not with those three, anyway. According to Deadline, Warner Brothers is hoping to repeat the success it found casting Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, bringing a relative unknown to the DCU and making her a pillar of the cinematic universe. This could also mean the studio is pushing ahead on the previously announced Supergirl movie. It's currently unknown whether Calle is playing the Kara Danvers version of Supergirl or another incarnation of the character. I am hoping for the latter. There have been several different versions of Supergirl in DC Comics, not all of whom hail from Krypton. It's also worth remembering Supergirl featured in a comic book tie-in to the 2013 Man of Steel, though whether or not that comic is part of the official DCEU continuity is anyone's guess. So again, miss me with this stuff. I gotta deal with this. I gotta deal with this constantly, this race-changing crap. So, I mean, I don't need this. I could do without it. But speaking of being disappointed, let us move on now to, let's see. We got the title of the new Spider-Man film, Spider-Man No Way Home. No Way Home. That's kind of, I don't know, scary. Let's see. Yeah, so they made a joke about this because Tom Holland is apparently the worst secret keeper in Hollywood. And there's a lot of funny videos and stuff going on about that, about him almost blowing secrets, and he actually did blow the secret of the last film's title. But apparently this one is for real. This one is for keeps. No Way Home. I would prefer Take Me Home. But I think they would be afraid that the Sony people would take that seriously. All right, so Tom Holland did the rounds to promote Cherry. I don't know what that is, but we'll just move on. Well, that's the movie he's doing with Ray, right? Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley's still getting roles. We've seen the actor field a lot of questions about Spider-Man No Way Home. Chief among them is whether he'll be starring in the movie alongside Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. He said on multiple occasions now that it won't happen. Now, I haven't talked about this yet, but yeah, he has been out there denying on the tour, on the circuit that he's been on. He's been denying that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's going to be in this, even though everybody and their brother has been saying it. Now, has he finally become a good liar? Usually you can't shut him up about, what's going on. He'll, like, betray it, but he's, like, coming out and saying this. Is it true? Let's see. Interviewers haven't stopped asking him again and again. In a recent GQ profile, Holland again found himself being quizzed about his two former Spider-Men. He again denied their involvement. "I knew you were going to ask me that," he said. "No, they are not on set. And neither of them are in this film." So again, is Tom Holland telling us the truth? Is he trying to sell us a bill of goods? Is he trying to sell us a bill of goods? Because a lot of people have said they found, them on set, or I think Tobey Maguire was seen on set or something. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if this is true or not. He says, "I am being asked that question a lot. If you see a red dot on my head, it's a Sony or Marvel sniper about to blow my head off." The actor was also asked about those recent comments he made regarding Spider-Man No Way Home being his final contracted movie as the web-slinger. Holland admitted that, "I really don't know what the future holds, so I am just savoring every moment. It could potentially be the last." I think that was from one interview. Another interview had him say that he'd sign up for 10 more if he could. I feel very confident that he will be signed up for more films, and I hope he is. I think he's a good Spider-Man. I think he just has a bad situation here. He has a bad cast. It's not the cast's fault. They're woefully unneeded. This version of Mary Jane is a terrible Mary Jane. This version of Ned Leeds is a terrible Ned Leeds. I don't like any of them. And I think, quite frankly, quite honestly, John Watts is not right for this material either. I think they really need to toughen it up, get a decent director, and I know that's probably not what Tom Holland wants to hear because he's happy going along with what he's got in front of him, but they needed to take it back to formula, as a very famous, crazed Green Goblin once said. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Is Tom Holland being on the level here? Is it really going to be no Tobey Maguire, no Andrew Garfield? Because honestly, that's probably the only reason why I'd see this film. I hated Homecoming. I hated what's the other one called? I don't even remember it. I kind of blocked it from my memory. Far From Home. That was terrible too. I mean, Michael Keaton was good as the Vulture, and I also think Jake Gyllenhaal was good as Mysterio. But and I think that Tom Holland is good as Spider-Man. But they are surrounded by these woefully inept scenarios. You've got, just from the beginning, it was a mistake to make Aunt May young. It was a mistake to not mention Uncle Ben. It was a mistake to give him a Disney show cast and scenario around him. It was just bad all around. I don't understand what they can do going forward to remedy this now. Because apparently, I don't know, I think the word on the street has that John Watts is going to direct Fantastic Four, but it's in the very early stages of writing. It won't be anytime soon. So maybe if they take him away from this material and put him in Fantastic Four, it might be better off for both. Although, to be honest with you, I think his overly humorous, I guess, take is not necessarily what the Fantastic Four needs either. I think a lot of people view the Fantastic Four as a comedy, and that's the wrong way to view it. That's kind of a mistake in as much in itself, because there's always been gravitas in the Fantastic Four, always been, with the earth-shaking machinations of Doctor Doom, and you had, a lot of sentimentality between the Thing and Alicia Masters and Reed and Sue, and of course the storyline between Johnny and Crystal. But that's the thing, you have that gravitas, and it's also tethered to some lighthearted humor, which is the Abbott and Costello or Laurel and Hardy type antics of Johnny and Ben. So they got to be careful what they do with this here with Watts. All right, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Well, let us continue on here. Something else that came out that, again, this I probably could have done this along with the DCEU stuff we were talking about. I probably should have done that as a perfect segue. Maybe not so perfect segue, but we'll backtrack here and we'll talk about the Blue Beetle movie has been given a green light. Now, the problem with this is I honestly want to see the Ted Kord Booster Gold movie or show. I loved that pairing in the comics. And then what they did, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever, when the wokeism came in, it was like, we've got to change Blue Beetle. We got to make a new Blue Beetle because we don't have enough Latino characters and because it's easier to change the character and the costume to a Latino than create a whole new character from whole cloth. Let's take Blue Beetle out, kick out Ted Kord, and put in Jamie Reyes, or is it Jaime Reyes? Probably Jaime. I don't know. You don't pronounce the J, right? I don't know. I'm not Latino, so I'm not too sure about these things. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. So they're going to do the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, and again, I wish they would have started with Ted Kord. I wish they would have given us the Blue Beetle and Booster Gold show / movie that they kind of had it in production limbo for quite some time, and you haven't heard anything about it in probably a good 7-8 years at this point. But I think probably around the time the Arrowverse started, it was suggested that maybe there'd be a Booster Gold show. They wanted Ted Kord on Arrow several times. They were denied because they were going to use him as Blue Beetle in a potential. That's why they used the Atom. That was originally supposed to be Blue Beetle. That's why he's so goofy and charming and what have you. But again, that didn't work out. That didn't come to pass. And the idea was always that they were going to do a Blue Beetle Booster Gold show at some point. Never happened. And now we're stuck with, and again, this is another one of those things where they're just changing the character inside the costume. They're not race changing like they're doing with Supergirl. But again, this leaves a bad taste in my mouth because it's basically tokenizing the character. Now, if you want to say it's a legacy character because Ted Kord was not the original, which I don't really go by that argument because it's the same thing as Barry Allen is the best Flash. Let's just come right out and say it. I don't care that he wasn't the first Flash, but he was the best. So it's kind of hard to say, well, now you have to accept Wally as the new Flash because Barry was a legacy fill-in. And, it's the same thing also with Green Lantern. For me, anyway, Hal Jordan's the best Green Lantern. And Alan Scott has his place in history, but he wasn't the best. The same thing here, though. Ted Kord was the definitive Blue Beetle, and to just move him out, and it doesn't sit well with me. All right, so let's talk about this here, though. Let's see. The Wrap is reporting that filmmaker Angel Manuel Soto from Charm City Kings has been hired by Warner Brothers to direct the planned Blue Beetle movie. Mexican-born writer Gareth Dunnett Altscher, again, I'm probably butchering that name, and I apologize, is penning the screenplay for the Solo project, which will put the spotlight on Jaime Reyes. So again, they're doing the political correct thing. They're all doing this now. We have to have a full, in this case, Latino cast with a full Latino director, with a full Latino screenwriter, and don't you dare be a gringo coming in and trying to help us out with this project. I don't like this kind of idea, really. I mean, in a way, I'm all right with it because, like I said, when you're doing the Black Panther, obviously, I think I would go, if I was the producer or something, I would go to a black director and say, yeah, I think you probably have a better handle on this than a white director. Same thing with Shang-Chi. I'd get an Asian director. But I don't understand this whole concept of it's only going to be authentic and genuine if it is only, pretty much 99% of the production team and cast have to be whatever race this main character is. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of I have conflicting feelings about it. Let's put it that way. 3 different characters have held the Blue Beetle mantle in the DC Comics universe, with Reyes being the latest. Introduced in 2006 during Infinite Crisis, he's a working-class El Paso teenager who discovers the Blue Beetle scarab one day after school. From there, he's granted incredible powers, including a variety of mystical weapons and enhanced speed and strength. I think I remember him most of all from... I think he was in Brave and the Bold, the the Batman show, and I think he was also on Young Justice. So I remember seeing this character before. And again, he's all right. It's fine. But yeah. It is an honor to direct Blue Beetle, the first Latino superhero film for DC, Soto told the trade in a statement. I want to sincerely thank everyone at Warner Brothers and DC for trusting me to bring Jaime Reyes to life. I can't wait to make history together. Production on Blue Beetle is expected to kick off in the fall. It's unclear whether this will be a theatrical release or if it's one of the lower-budgeted DC movies we've heard about being developed for HBO Max. Either way, this is exciting news for fans and brings several characters to the screen that they've been desperately expecting to see in live action for several years. All right, so let me know what you think in the comments below about Blue Beetle, the motion picture. Whether you're excited about this or whether you, like me, would rather have the Blue Beetle Booster Gold movie. We've got one more story, and this one is kind of interesting. This one caught my eye. Speaking of catching my eye, is Adrian Palacki ever going to get back a role as Mockingbird? I don't know. They should use her in the MCU going forward. I digress. Speaking of names, tough for me to say. Again, I apologize. I'm not sure I've ever heard anybody say her name out loud. Like, for instance, people act like, oh, it's not Melissa Benoist. It's Melissa Benoist. And I'm like, dude, I heard Melissa Benoist say Melissa Benoist. Don't tell me how to say her name. I think, that's the standard I use. Like Gal Gadot. It was Gal Gadot for the longest time. But then I heard Gal Gadot say Gal Gadot. And I say if the actress herself says her name that way, or at the very least, I've seen her being interviewed and the interviewer calls her that name and she doesn't stop them and say, no, it's Benoist, then I have to go with what the actress herself said or authorized by not saying, no, Benoist. So since I haven't heard anybody correct Benoist, and since I actually hear Gal Gadot pronouncing her name as Gal Gadot, I'm going with that. I'm sorry to say. So don't correct me. If you know what's good for you anyway, don't correct me. All right. So, again, Adrienne Palacki. I feel like I've got a hyphen in her name somewhere. When I say it, it's like Palacki. It's probably a lot more one syllable than that. Adrian Palacki. Maybe it's something like that. Palacki. So it doesn't sound like Palacki. I gotta just look up her interviews and see if I can find something that. Anyway, this topic has absolutely nothing to do with Adrienne Palacki. Well, not absolutely nothing to do with her. The last time we saw Lady J, she was portrayed by Adrienne Palacki in the film G.I. Joe Retaliation. Now, word is on the street, seeing as how there is a G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie coming out, and they completely recast for that movie. There's going to be a new Scarlet. There's going to be a new Snake Eyes. There probably will be a new Lady J for this TV show, but there is apparently a Lady J TV show in the works. The G.I. Joe character, if you remember her from the cartoons, I never got the action figure of Lady J when I was a kid, which really bummed me out because she was a big star in that show, and I never really liked her. I always preferred Scarlet. She was more feminine and attractive, and had a nicer voice. But they kind of made Lady J a tomboy, and thankfully, Adrienne Palacki didn't really do that with this character. I don't know if maybe it was the director, but they just kind of went a feminine way with her and not make her a tomboy, which I think was preferable. Anyway, we've got the, let's see, Deadline reporting that Paramount Television Studios E1 and Skydance Television are in the very early stages of developing a live-action G.I. Joe series centered on Lady J for Amazon Prime Video. Eric Olson will serve as creator and showrunner. To comic book TV fans, his name should sound familiar, as he was the showrunner, executive producer on Daredevil Season 3, as well as writer, co-executive producer on Arrow Season 3. As part of his overall deal with Amazon Studios, in addition to the untitled Lady J series, he's also taking over as the showrunner, executive producer on the second season of Amazon's Carnival Row. Along with his other roles, Olson will executive produce the new show alongside Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, who produced the 2 G.I. Joe films, and is also well known for producing all 5 entries in Paramount's blockbuster Transformers franchise. Oh, so that might tip us off here. That might tip us off. He's working alongside Di Bonaventura, who produced the 2 G.I. Joe films. So I don't know. He might be able to sway Adrienne Palacki to the show. But then again, isn't she still on that Orville show? A lot of people like that show. I haven't even watched it. I really don't have the interest in it. I don't have the time of day for that show, to be honest with you. But if they could get her involved in the show, and we still have a pretty, a pretty and feminine Lady J, I'd be happy to check out this show because, I love G.I. Joe. I don't think enough is done with the franchise. Quite honestly, what they have done with the franchise hasn't been great. But if they can do something positive with the G.I. Joe franchise, much like the He-Man franchise, they would print gold. They would print money. And it would be a gold franchise. But for some reason, they don't have people involved that know what they're doing with these things. Let's see. Lady J was initially introduced in the 1984 animated series before joining the popular action figure line and being written into the comic books the following year. Adrienne Palacki previously played the character in her live-action debut in John M. Chu's G.I. Joe Retaliation, but it is unclear if she'll reprise her role for this project or if the upcoming series will go in an entirely different direction with a new actress. No further details are currently available, but it seems probable that we could see the show on the streamer sometime in 2022. What do you think about this? Are you excited about these new G.I. Joe projects that are coming our way? Apparently, Snake Eyes, I guess, is set to release this year. I'm not sure. And, of course, the Lady J series. Well, that's about it for another stellar week. We went well over an hour here, and I have got dinner to get, so I'm going to have to part ways with you here. Unfortunately, we will, let's see. Yeah, we're going to be doing, I got another episode of the Batwoman reviews in the can. I've got to edit it. I'm hoping I can do that tonight. I am not going to put any money on that I'm going to be able to get it done tonight because I just spent so much time here. And like I said, I try to put at least one day a week to do nothing but YouTube, trying to get the channel going and, provide content for you guys. I am so thankful. I say this all the time. God love you for subbing, viewing, all of you out there. It is much appreciated. And I never take my subs, followers, and any of my readers for granted. I am much appreciative of any love you show the channel, the books, or anything else that I do. Much appreciated. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you tune in again. Keep abreast of the news on Twitter. I'll be probably posting there when the Batwoman review will be ready. Hopefully it'll be by Sunday. I'm sure it will be. These videos are now, I'm trying to make them under 10 minutes, so they'll be easy to digest, easy for me to put up there. Doesn't take me too long. So I'm sure it'll be done within, if not tonight, probably within a day or so. So until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.